The club is brought to you by Sky Bet in support of the British Heart Foundation.
The Sky Bet EFL Every Minute Relay is already underway. The cyclists, runners and walkers have already completed an amazing 1,000 kilometres.
The relay visits all 72 EFL clubs. That's 72 legs, all in effort of getting 270,000 football fans trained in life-saving CPR by the time this season's playoff arrives.
You can donate by giving just 15 minutes of your time to learn CPR by searching the British Heart Foundation's online tool, Reviver. That's REVIVR for more information.
15 minutes is all it takes.
Sky Bet, in partnership with the British Heart Foundation.
18 plus, begambleaware.org.
What's happening, everyone, and welcome to the club. We have something very special for you lined up. There is a fantastic podcast. It's called The Upshot. I'm a massive fan of it, and I am delighted to welcome Jack from The Upshot onto today's podcast. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the show, Jack.
It really is a terrific podcast. It's just funny football stories brought to you in a very comedic way. So thank you for finding the time.
Thank you. Well, yeah, we all know the story of Eric Cantona kung fu kicking a fan in '95, right? It's one of the most iconic moments in Premier League history.
Yeah.
But the story of what happened next is even more crazy. Yeah. It's absolutely mad. So just to recap the incident for all of us, we all remember Cantona's sent off against Crystal Palace. It's January 1995. As he's walking off, a fan comes down to the front row and starts abusing him. I probably won't repeat exactly what he says, but the gist of it is go back to France. Some stuff about his mum as well. It's unpleasant stuff. And Eric Cantona responds by kung fu kicking this fella. And after that, he's dragged off the pitch. It's absolute chaos at Selhurst Park. Cantona is immediately banned by Man United till the end of the season. They're trying to get in front of any suspension. So he then, to escape this huge press pack that's forming outside his house, he disappears to Guadeloupe in the Caribbean with his wife, where he's, getting away from it all. He's sunbathing on the beach one day when suddenly he opens his eyes and there's someone standing blocking his sun. And it is Terry Lloyd from ITV News, who's flanked by two cameramen. And Terry starts trying to fire Eric questions about the kung fu kick. Eric responds by getting him in a headlock, dragging him down the beach, and in front of all these stunned holidaymakers screaming, "I will kill you!"
That's amazing.
I mean,
as you should.
That's crazy.
Amazing. I didn't even know that.
No, I didn't know that.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, there's more. There's much, much more. So he's got him in the headlock for like 2 minutes. There's loads of eyewitnesses as this news gets back to the papers, inevitably. While he's in the headlock, these two cameramen are wrestling with Cantona, trying to get their host free, which they eventually do. And so you've got the three of them standing there like panting, bedraggled, facing Eric Cantona. And then Cantona, I guess anticipating more or just wanting revenge, he flies in with a drop kick on Terry Lloyd. He kung fu kicks him.
Oh my God.
So it's a bit of
It's like a double kick. It's become his signature move.
He's got to have been practicing that. Like, you don't just do it twice in heated moments without it being your thing.
Your thing, yeah.
How did Terry Lloyd react to that?
Well, I think Terry Lloyd's on the floor, like winded, knocked out. He's been in a headlock.
Did he go to the police? Did he go to Guadeloupe officials?
Well, he got his story. So I think more importantly,
good day at the office for him, really.
You know what journos are like. He's mostly just thinking, can I get the scoop? And so this story makes waves back home where everyone's like, he's done it again. Drop kicking, it's his thing. Anyway, so the story makes it back there, and eventually Eric's got to come back and face the music, right? Because he's going to be in an FA hearing. There's talk of him being banned for life. The Premier League apparently were really worried. They thought that this whole thing was going to tarnish their image because the Premier League was quite new. We're in the second or third season.
Yeah.
And they were really worried, but actually, apparently, Sky Sports sold record subscriptions
Off the back of it.
Yeah,
did him a
that
favour.
week. Yeah. I mean,
you could see why they would have been slightly fearful, though, because we were just coming out of the reputation that England had at the time as it sort of being the English disease, hooliganism, violence from the stands. You can see why they would have thought that it might have the adverse effect of what it ended up having. But obviously, it's drama and it was going to sell.
Yeah, because football wasn't quite as dominant in the culture then as it is now. It's weird to think that.
You were a geek if you loved football, like people do now.
Yeah.
You were kind of like one of the nerds. Like, I remember being a bit nerdy at school because I just loved football so much. Like, not everyone loved it, as much as they do now.
No, absolutely.
Weirdly, this incident, I think, actually was one of the reasons it became like this big mainstream like entertainment that everyone loved. Anyway, at the time, Eric is still pretty worried, like, am I going to play football again? And he's hauled in front of this FA panel. It's all quite just like dreary suits. these esteemed gentlemen from the Football Association. And most people would probably, the night before, get an early night, maybe like practice your most profuse apology. But this is Eric Cantona. So instead, he goes out clubbing with Paul Ince, Paul Gascoigne, and Ian Wright.
I wish I was there.
What a
What a
lineup.
night out
I
that is.
wish I was there.
What, in
Unusual
In
bunch,
London.
isn't
Wow.
it? As well. You wouldn't expect him to be hanging around with Gaza and
Ince.
Ian Wright. Ince, of course, a
Ince,
teammate.
Great lineup.
Ince, Gaza, Wright.
Gaza and Cantona, that's GOAT status.
Yeah.
And then you've got Ian Wright, who's a legend, and you want to go out with Ian Wright. And then you've got, who's the other
Paul
one?
Ince.
Paul Ince as well.
Yeah,
You'd imagine
true icon at the time as well.
That's,
Paul Ince.
yeah, he's a
Like,
fantastic
true icon.
Yeah, this is the peak of his power.
Yeah.
Cantona must have bowed Ince and he must have just already been out with him, innit?
Yeah.
Ince is
Ince
out
would have
with
been good
Wright
friends
and
with Wright,
Gaza.
maybe. Gaza,
I
yeah.
have a feeling that Ince was also going to an FA hearing for something else.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's why he was down there, and then Gaza and Ian Wright just there for the
crazy.
night out.
That's so good.
Anyway, so they're pictured staggering out of this nightclub at 4:45 a.m. Hearings in the morning. So he staggers out. 4 hours later, Eric's got to go back out in his suit, looking contrite, to face the FA. And, he sort of sits through this tedious proceeding. And at the end of it, they say, well, do you have a statement that you wish to make, Mr. Cantona? And Eric replies, yes, I do. I would like to apologize to my teammates. I would like to apologize to the FA. And I would like to apologize to the prostitute I shared my bed with last night.
Was that in the official statement? That's actually what he said.
Told the panel. So they're all just like in shock.
Hey.
They give him an 8-month ban in the end, which
It's almost like he didn't care.
Grace.
It's almost like
Yeah.
I've never heard that about.
No, neither have I.
That's crazy.
honestly, so much of this stuff is like everyone knows the main story, but then you go back and like read the old reports from the time, from the newspapers and stuff, and it's all there, just these mad details.
They were rock stars, footballers in the 90s and the early 2000s. Now they'd be wrapped up in cotton wool. That would never, ever happen to today. Never in a million years.
No, but the personalities, I'm not sure that they're even about. Like, if you know the
They're not
lineup,
allowed to be.
But you know the lineup that you just said there. Each player there has a story and would be great company and would be so interesting to hear from. I can't think of the equivalent for now. Like I can't.
Grealish.
Grealish is one, but
Not comparable either. I'm just saying.
Do you know what? I'd go the other way. I'd actually say now that I would avoid being like. If I could go out for a drink with Ian Wright, I'd do anything to make that happen. I would do anything to make sure that I did not go out for a drink with James Maddison. I would do anything to avoid it. I'd be saying, I'd be
the
washing
feeling's
my hair.
mutual.
Yeah. I'm sure the feeling's mutual, absolutely.
So finally, right, we've had the FA hearing, we've had the madness in Guadeloupe. But Eric Cantona's been charged with a crime, right? He kung fu kicked a guy on TV live. So he's charged with assault, and in court, he does all right. He's initially jailed, but then he appeals and he gets community service. So he kind of gets off okay. But the guy who he kicked, Matthew Simmons, is in court with him. He's been charged, I guess, like sort of hooliganism offences. Matthew Simmons delivers probably my favourite excuse in legal history, because we all know there were loads of witnesses who saw him run down and scream all this stuff, go back to France, about Cantona's mum. But Matthew Simmons claims, no, I was on my way to the toilet, saw him get sent off, and I said, it's an early bath for you, Mr. Cantona. Anyway, he gets a 500 quid fine in court, and he's so angry about this. In this mad moment of courtroom drama, he strangles one of the prosecuting lawyers.
No.
And then finally, the final moment, bringing it all full circle, Matthew Simmons, and this is all reported from everyone in court, spots Cantona's lawyer in the courtroom, and he launches a kung fu kick of his own at him.
There we go.
That's unbelievable.
That is fantastic.
Crazy.
And we got all that story without the quote, when the seagulls follow the trawler, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea.